My name is Amos Madra, and in this program, we speak to a panel of young professionals about the world of work. Community Integrated Care is a national social care charity which provides care and support to thousands of people across England and Scotland. Joining me from Community Integrated Care is nurse Gabriella Potts and advanced carer Sarah Buckley. Now, remember, guys, we do want to get your questions in before, as we're talking live today. So please make sure, just as we did yesterday, lots of great questions, by the way. Sorry that we didn't get to answer all of them, but if you can get your questions in, that will be great. We've got two fantastic panelists who are ready and raring to go to answer your questions. So I'll keep an eye on the chat just to see what questions we've got coming through. Get your questions in. And remember, the hashtag that we're using on LinkedIn is Inspire Future Leaders. Lots of you tagging me in your posts and also connecting with me. So make sure you get your questions in. So I look forward to getting that to our panelists today. So again, a very warm welcome to Gabriella and Sarah. Hi guys, how you doing?
Hi, okay, thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us today. I know that it's under difficult circumstances as you both work in a care home. How's the last 12 months been for you guys?
Extremely challenging is the best way to put it. Yeah.
Thanks, Gabriella. Can you tell me why it's been challenging?
Well, it's unprecedented times at the moment. We've never expected something like this. We managed to fight off the virus for quite a while, didn't we? Mm-hmm. So back in March, when we first went into the first lockdown, we actually, all our residents tested negative, and we did up until December 2020. And then we had our first outbreak on one of our units. And unfortunately, we had around about 7 residents pass away. So that's been extremely challenging. We had a lot of our staff go off poorly. So on top of very, very sick residents, we also had short staffing issues that we had to manage. But luckily now we're out of it. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, and that's the important thing, isn't it? I'm really sorry to hear about the sad passing of your residents. My sincere condolences to you and the rest of the team. Have they all been vaccinated, or how's things going at the moment in terms of vaccination?
Yes, so we've been rolling out the vaccine program, and all our residents are now vaccinated, and all of our staff are vaccinated. That's
good news, and that's what we want, isn't it? Is making sure we get as many people vaccinated as soon as possible.
Yes.
Could you, Sarah, can I start with you? Can you tell me a bit about your role and what you do?
So I'm a senior carer, so that I don't know. I've gone blank, sorry. So
it's okay, it's fine.
So I do all of the same work as the carer, so obviously like personal care, assisting with lunch times and food and whatever. And then I also am trained to do medications, diabetic insulins, dressings. Yeah. So I help a lot with the nurses.
Yeah. She's our assistant, basically. Yeah. When I'm having a lazy day, it's like,
you can lean on Sarah.
Yeah, basically.
How about yourself, Gabriella? What do you do?
Yeah, I'm a registered nurse. So I am classed as a nurse in charge of the care home. So throughout the shift, I'm responsible for everything, overseeing everything, care, nursing needs, social needs, anything that is doing, medications, a lot of paperwork. Infection control, a lot of doing the testing as well now. We test quite regularly throughout the week as well. So I've been spending a lot of time doing that as well.
Very busy, yeah.
Yes.
We've got a lot of questions coming through. Fantastic. Keep the questions coming, guys. We'll do the best we can to try and get through as many of these questions as possible. There's quite a lot here, so let's see where can we start. I did see one in terms of, let's see, there's so many questions here. Okay. So I did see a question there. I'm sorry if I've not mentioned your name, but somebody did say, what type, who are your clients? Who do you care for? Would you mind clarifying that for us, just to let the audience know who you care for?
Yeah, so our care home specifically care for elderly population. Mostly we have a unit separate to us that's mainly dementia care. And then we have the unit that both me and Sarah work on is the nursing unit. Sometimes we can have residents come in with quite a lot of complex care needs. They very, very big range of what we're looking after. End of life, which we call palliative care as well. We provide that. We also offer respite care as well. So if anybody in the community that has maybe early stage dementia may come into the home just for a couple of weeks so the family can have a rest or go on holiday. So we also offer and provide that service as well.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you for sharing that with us. Lots of people here would want to know how you guys got into your roles. Sarah, how did you become a senior carer?
So in 2014, that's when I started doing care. I followed my mum. She'd been doing care for the last 30 odd years. So I grew up being around a carer, and that's just all I've ever wanted to do. And then I just progressed, just as I got better at my job, pretty much. I got promoted. So that's where I am.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that with us. Gabriella, how did you get into your role?
So I first had my first taste of nursing when I was 14, so a little over 10 years ago. And one of my neighbours had fallen in their drive and injured themselves, sustained quite a serious head injury. So I helped him. And then ever since then, I kind of thought maybe this is something I would want to do. So I decided to do my A-levels. I studied health and social care alongside my A-levels. And then I went to university and studied nursing. And that was a 3-year course. And I did 2,300 hours of placement, different placements all over Yorkshire, which is where I studied. And that's what brought me into nursing. But I was a carer as well since I was 17 up until I was 21, whilst I was at uni as well. So I kind of got an idea of nursing whilst being a carer as well. So I knew that's what I wanted to do.
So that was something from a very young age,
yes,
that you've always wanted to do. And Sarah, the influence of having your mum around as well led you to go into this career as well. We've got a question here from Charlotte. Charlotte's asking, what advice would you have for anyone who wants to do what you're doing? Can I start with you, Sarah? What advice would you offer to Charlotte?
To expect the unexpected. It's never the same day. Like, each shift is completely different. And to just be yourself. Yeah.
Definitely.
And would you want to add on that, Gabriella? What would you say?
Yeah, I think in healthcare as well, it's really important to work within a team. So you have to really be open-minded, and like Sarah says, expect the unexpected. A lot in healthcare is a lot of discipline as well. So always knowing the routine, sticking to it. A lot of patience as well, because it really tests you as well.
And ask questions.
Nobody
ever asks enough questions.
Yes. And no question is stupid either.
Yeah. This is going to sound dead stupid, and it's like, it's not at all.
Not stupid. Yeah.
That's important advice, isn't it? You know, asking as many questions, and no question, as you said, is a stupid question. Really important advice. Yeah, so guys, keep questions coming in. We'll do the best we can to get through as many of these as we can. Let's see. This is quite. How again? We've spoken about this briefly. What do you enjoy the most about what you do? Elise is also asking. We've spoken about the challenges, but yeah, what do you enjoy the most about what you do?
You can go first.
I can go first.
Yeah.
What do I love most about what I do? The variety of people that I meet, not only patients, but the people you work with as well. Healthcare provides a great network of people, and it just brings everybody together, really. But it's just a very person-centered vocation, should I say, and I love that about that. I'm a talker, if you can't tell already, so I love coming to work and getting all the words out, and then I go home and I just sit in silence. It's just one of the main things I love about my job.
How about yourself, Sarah?
So I'm a listener. I love sitting and chatting to the residents, and their life history is amazing, and it's just great to listen to all the different things they've done.
Thanks for sharing that. We've got a question here from Teresa, and she's asking, what are your typical hours like? What sort of hours do you do?
Long shifts usually.
Yeah.
You can do shorter shifts if you want to do that, but we start at 7:45 in the morning and we finish at 8:15 at night.
Should finish at 8:15.
Yeah. Depends on how quickly you handle it. You know,
so does it
sort everything out.
So it's normally shift patterns, is it? For example,
Yes,
12 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. So 7 till 7.
Yeah.
Okay. And does that work in like 3 days, 3 nights, 3 offs, or is it just?
Well, I don't know about you, Sarah, but I'm contracted days.
Yeah, me
so
too.
I don't do nights. If you worked in the NHS, you would be expected to do rotational shifts. So yeah, you could do long days. You'd do maybe 3 in, and then you would have a couple of days off, and then you would do nights as well. So NHS is very. The contracts are you are expected to do nights.
I have covered nights though, like
so we do here as well.
I'm contracted days, but I have done the odd night shift just for like cover and stuff.
Yeah, thanks again. Tino's asking, what keeps you guys motivated?
Motivated. Lots of cups of teas.
Yeah.
Cups of teas and biscuits.
And chocolates and sweets.
So if you ever want to deliver any, we like digestives and bourbon biscuits.
There's lots of biscuits,
yeah,
lots of teas,
yeah,
lots of chats, and that's enough. Akib's asking, how do you develop your skills? How do you develop yourselves?
With time. Don't expect it to happen overnight. No. Yeah, definitely. I've been qualified a little over 12 months and I'm still learning every day.
I was going to say, I've been a senior for 3 years now and I learn something new every day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you never stop learning.
So you're learning something new every day.
All the time.
And Madison wants to know, do you find what you do rewarding?
Absolutely.
100%.
Would not be here otherwise.
Yes. Yeah.
What's the most rewarding part of, I mean, you've already said that, but tell us a bit more in terms of why you find it rewarding.
Just knowing that you've helped somebody, even if it's just with a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Just know that you've been there.
Yeah.
And that they appreciate it, because they do massively, don't they?
Definitely.
Especially on the nursing, because a lot of ours have got capacity. They know that we're there to help them, and they are very much appreciative of that.
Yeah, definitely. And for me, to jump on the back of that, I think the most important part of my role, and it's a weird one to say, but the most I enjoy is when somebody's at end of life, it feels like a privilege to be there at their last days. not everybody is there, and especially now that we can't have visitors, they're restricted on how long they can be here with their relatives. I feel like as a nurse to be there on their last days, it's a privilege like no other, really. To be there for them at their end of life. No other job could give you that opportunity to really just care for somebody 100% as well. But you just go above, don't you? You do 110%. Anything you can do to just make them a little bit better, or just a smile. I remember one of my residents when I was a carer, and he was on his last couple of days, and he turned to me, and he had dementia, but he'd said, thank you for everything that you've cared for me. And he had no capacity whatsoever, but he remembered everything we'd done for him. And this was just a couple of days before he died. He remembered everything we'd done for him. It was amazing.
I mean, that's, it's with, the role that you guys are in, it's, for some people, it's a very difficult thing to deal with, watching somebody pass on. I mean, it's a difficult subject in itself, death. Did you always anticipate how you would deal with this when you were training? Was this something that you thought about? Am I doing the right thing? If I go into this career, I'm going to be facing death. How am I going to deal with it? Was this something that you always thought that, I've got to come to terms with? Yeah,
I mean, it was always a difficult one, and I think I will always remember my first death.
Absolutely, yeah, me too.
You always remember it, and you always think, did I do something? What could I do better? And I think I spent about 2 weeks thinking about everything and how it all happened and rolled out. And I thought, what else could I have done? And on reflection, I realised there wasn't really much more you can do for them. But it's just, you just never forget.
Yeah. And it's not something where, you become blasé about it. So there's another one gone.
Yeah, they say sure it never does.
No.
So each one you still think about when you go home and you're thinking about the type of person that were, Wow. I can only salute you guys for what you do. It's incredible. It's very difficult times at the moment, but we just hope that, things will get better. And, as Captain Sir Tom Moore would say, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And there's a brighter tomorrow, as he would always say. So we can always look forward to that, can't we? We've got lots more questions coming through. I did find one here that was really good. In fact, I think there's a great question here from, I think it's Kivani, which relates to what you just both mentioned. And Kivani is basically saying, how do you deal with families? And I think I just want to add on to what Kivani was saying. With things at the moment, I know that a lot of nursing homes don't allow visitors to come in. What's your opinions on that? And do you think families should be allowed to come and visit? Or is it better for them to stay away until we get hold of this virus?
I think for me, it's just a personal opinion and not a reflection of the company. I think at the moment, given the different variants and how we're not too sure on these different variants, I think at the moment it's best that they stay away. We have other options of communicating with relatives, so we have video calling, phone calls. They can have window visits, just the windows have to remain shut, and then we hand a phone to the residents so they can talk to their relatives. Obviously that's a really difficult thing, but sometimes I feel like we have to protect the most vulnerable and act in the best interest of that resident, even though it feels like an exceptionally cruel thing to do.
It's a bit of a catch-22, isn't it? Where we want them here, families and the residents want them here. It's just, at this time, it just feels safer for them to stay away.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it's that difficult decision, isn't it? It's yes, we'd love for you to come in, especially at end of life, but then it's thinking about other people as well. It's a difficult one, and again, thank you for the work that you guys are doing. Lots more questions. Let's see who else. What else? There's a lot. You guys keep the questions coming in. Loving these. Let's see. Okay, this is from Tasnia, and she's asking, so when you get in, what do you do? Tell me we know what time you start, okay, but what happens when you get in? What's the typical day? You've gone through the doors, here I am, start of work. What happens? Is it first thing kettle on, or are we...
Oh, no. No.
That comes at like about 11:30.
Yeah, 11:30 you get your first brew, yeah.
Yeah.
And we receive handover first from the night nurse. All the team sit down and we talk about how the night's been, what's the plan for the rest of the day. We usually divide up into zones of residents, and then we allocate staff to care for those residents all day. And then I go with the nurse and check the controlled drugs. So we go and check those. They're in a locked cupboard. So we go do those. I come back onto the unit, and then usually the staff started doing their personal cares, haven't they, with their allocations. So they go and start caring for those residents, getting them up, ready for breakfast, washed, dressed, anything they need. I would then start my medicines round, and I would start going around the unit, making sure all the residents are safe. And yeah, usually we stop around about 11:30, don't we? Have a little bit of a brew.
Yeah, you
try anyway.
10 minutes. Quick
10 minutes. And by that time, then you got lunch coming up. People need their pads checked, don't they? Yeah. And then we just carry on doing observations throughout the day. That includes checking blood pressure, heart rate, respiratory rate, oxygen saturations and temperature. And we just, a lot of paperwork, isn't it?
Yeah.
More personal care, repositioning. I do a lot of dealing with the GPs, dolls, if we do any mental capacity assessments, any other paperwork that needs doing, reviewing patients. And then we just carry on going, don't we, until tea time. And then the same cycle again. We hand food out, do observations, check them all, repositions. And that pretty much brings us up to like 8:15 when we hand over again. And
wow.
It's a very, very busy day.
Yeah. And your feet all day. Wow. So I've got a question here from Ada, and it relates to what you just said. How do you guys cope with all that stress of the day and all the workload? How do you deal with it? Good question, Ada.
We usually like to whinge and moan to each other. And we just kind of get it all out, and then we go, right, I feel better now, I can go on about my day. Just different coping mechanisms, really. I like to drink a lot of tea. So if I start feeling like a little bit, a bit under pressure, and think, okay, well, I'm just going to go make myself a cup of tea, and I'll just sit there, with my tea for a little bit and just have a minute just to take a deep breath. Don't we?
Yeah. I can normally manage till about 4:00, and it gets to 4:00, and I'm like, right, that's it. I need a brew. We need to.
Tea holds everything.
Yeah. So what it is, offer them a cup of tea, always well.
There we go. We've learned the secret today, haven't we?
Yeah.
A nice brew. So, Naima wants to know, would you have chosen any other career?
It's a difficult one. Yes. I wouldn't change it for the world. But if I had the opportunity again, maybe something with a bit more of a life balance. Yeah. You sacrifice a lot with healthcare, but it's so rewarding as well. So it just depends, really.
Yeah.
I would love, and a lot of my family have office 9-to-5 jobs, and they seem so peaceful, and the thought of being able to sit down all day seems like a brilliant idea.
What a dream.
But like Gabby said, I would not change it for the world. Yeah. Not at all.
But then I people go in for 9-to-5 jobs, Monday to Friday, and I look at them and do my 3 long days, and I'm like, oh, I get nice 4 days off. So it's a balance, really. I quite like the fact that I have 4 days off a week, whereas they're in and they only get 2 days off at the weekend. So yeah, so it's just a balance, really.
Yeah, but where would we be without you? So, you know, you guys are our superheroes without capes.
Thank you.
Yeah. We were thinking of getting some of the tattoos. Yeah, but then infection control said no.
So let's see. Great question here, Beth. Beth wants to know, what have you learned from your residents? What kind of things you learned from them?
Patience.
Yeah.
They tolerate a lot from us as well, to be fair. They tolerate a lot from us.
And the kind of stories, have they shared stories with you where you've learned, I don't know, life skills maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, one of our residents, she told me that her and her husband have never had children, and she's always wanted to have children. And she just shared her struggle with having a baby, and she basically just said that it never stopped her, from loving her husband, or it meant that she could go and have a different life. And her perspective on life was just very interesting and very positive. She'd taken quite a negative, what she sees as a negative, and turned it into a positive. It was quite a nice way she put it, really. I learnt a lot from that, really.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, Gabriella. Sarah, is there any stories like that, similar, that you can share with us?
We have a gentleman who is a judge. So he was a judge in Wales somewhere. I can't remember where. So when you get time, obviously we sit with him and he tells us about all the different cases and stuff he's done, and and all the law changes and stuff. He's really switched on with all of that, and it's great to hear the different cases and stuff that he's had to deal with.
Yeah, interesting world.
Yeah, really interesting.
Really
especially
interesting world.
It's like a little town in the outskirts of somewhere.
He was in the outskirts.
Yeah, and even then, the stories that he dealt with were amazing.
Yeah, so interesting.
So, guys, we're already coming towards the end of our features panel here. I just want you guys to leave the audience with your final words. Sarah, can I start with you? What do you want to leave our audience with today? And thanks for the questions, guys. Thank you very much. So, Sarah, can I...
I just want to thank them all for coming into this sector. There's not enough of us. We do need a lot more, and we are very grateful.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. I agree. And it takes a lot of hard work, a lot of determination, but you just have to push through it. Especially from a nursing side, if you do go into doing the degree, it is a lot of work, it's a lot of sacrifice. But the course, you learn a lot, and you also learn a lot about yourself as well. And it teaches you a lot, and a lot of life skills as well.
And don't give up on the bad days. There will be some very bad days, and you just think that you won't be able to get through it, but you will, and the good days make up for it tenfold. Definitely.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Guys, there you've heard it from two experts. Thank you very much indeed to Gabriella and to Sarah as well for coming and talking to us and sharing their experiences. And a huge thank you to all of you at Lambeth College and all the other colleges that have joined in with this chat today. Great questions. Keep them coming in. Don't forget the hashtag on our LinkedIn page is Inspire Future Leaders. So from myself, from Gabriella, and from Sarah, I just want to say thank you very much, and we wish you all the very best. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.